so we'll see what happens. I'm just gonna let the intro video play out just to make sure. See what we get. We got there's a lot of drop frames. I don't know if it's the server or what the issue is. So hold on a second. Bear with us, everyone. Just gonna get all this stuff figured out here. I'm your host, John Spalding, and my co-host is Chaz. Welcome to Morning Coins. We're gonna get started in just a second. And this is Morning Coins with John and Chaz. Welcome, everybody. Glad you are here. Let's get started with episode 2. Our frame rates are looking a lot better, and so I think everyone's here and hearing us, so that's good. Hey, Chaz.
Good morning.
You ready to do this again?
I'm ready. Well, we got a lot to cover today. It's going to be good stuff, though.
Action-packed.
Yes.
So this is our second episode of Morning Coins with John and Chaz. We went live on G1NBC Live last time. We're trying out DLive today, just in our community building efforts and also show promotion efforts to get the word out there. We'll also take the recording and put it on YouTube and put it on our G1NBC affiliate pages. So Chaz and myself are G1NBC affiliates. I am the affiliate station director for Cuyahoga County. Chaz is the station director for Genesee County, Michigan. And so we appreciate you all being here. Let's go ahead and get right in just with a little disclaimer. Everyone remember, cryptocurrencies, futures, stocks, and options trading involve substantial risk of loss and are not suitable for every investor or individual. The valuation of cryptocurrencies, futures, stocks, and options may fluctuate, and as a result, clients may lose more than their original investment. All investments discussed on this show are for informational purposes only and not recommendations to buy or sell. So, Chaz, we have up a definition of cryptocurrency. So this is our word of the day.
Yes, I felt it was important that, when you jump into cryptocurrency, you can't assume everybody knows what you're talking about. It is a new technology. More and more people are becoming aware of it. Mainstream is picking up on this, but I thought definitions would be helpful for people trying to understand what cryptocurrency is, or most people refer to it as Bitcoin. So this one calls cryptocurrency a digital currency in which encryption techniques are used to regulate the generation of units of currency and verify the transfer of funds operating independently of a central bank. So, I think there's a lot of people out there that would debate whether cryptocurrencies or altcoins are currency or are an asset. Mm-hmm. But for the start of this, we need to look at this and start exploring that. That's part of our exploration that we want to do. We want to explore cryptocurrency, so this is one of our explorations.
Yeah, definitely. I think I fall in the category of a person who doesn't. I believe that this is the first actual use case of Bitcoin and Ethereum and all of the other ones is to use it as like kind of a tradable transaction form, and it's still new. It's still building into what it possibly could be. Because if you think about, I think I heard like if everybody in the world had Bitcoin for the amount that it was going to be at, once all of the Bitcoins are mined, and I believe that, and I'm not sure even when the end year is. I think it's like 2140 or something like that. But when that's all said and done, if it were to be applied to every person in the world, each person would have 0.21 Bitcoin, or like somewhere in that average.
That's significant because of course, you always get predictions. Everybody wants to be out there and being the predictor of value, but if it goes anywhere near what people are saying it's going to do. Those people are going to have a substantial amount of money, even at 0.21.
Yeah. Yep.
But we
So,
know markets go up and down. So,
and I think the key here is in the definition is that it units of currency or verifying the transfer of funds operating independently of a central bank. And you're going to see that as a key theme, I think, in our show and in other shows, is that what the blockchain technology has provided now is the ability to do peer-to-peer transactions without having middlemen and without having a value derived from centralized governments.
yes, and that's making a lot of governments crazy,
It
as
is.
well as the banks and the stock exchanges.
Yeah. And so whenever I hear people from banks and come from that background, or people from trade and Wall Street, I always try to pay attention to what they say and how they're saying it, because that's usually a tell on their stance on cryptocurrency, but also they give you insight on how the banks and financial institutions are going to handle it. Like, I was reading an article the other day that was saying that MasterCard has opened themselves up to blockchain technology. But if you read it further, it says we'll be open to blockchain technology. Like, anyone who processes and tries to buy Bitcoin on credit, obviously that probably shouldn't be done anyway. They get charged a fee that they didn't before, which I think is good, actually, because you don't want people running up credit cards buying this stuff and then I don't know. I think that is a sign of a bubble or of a bad market principle.
Yeah, yeah, and I would suggest that too, that people not go into debt to buy cryptocurrencies.
Right. But MasterCard said they would support it if it was government issued blockchain tokens. Like, that's their disclaimer. They're like, yeah, we'll take them and manage them and da-da-da-da-da, as long as they come from the government. So that tells you right there, like, what this field is up against.
Yeah,
And these guys have run it for so long. They've written the laws. They've created the game, basically. And we're all playing it. The point of crypto is, let's play a different game and see how
yeah,
the world ends up then. All right,
that's right.
so let's do our next word of the
Next slide.
day slide. Yeah.
Yeah, it's on a similar vein, but I just wanted to get some other look at it. Okay, so this one says a cryptocurrency is a digital asset designed to work as a medium of exchange that uses cryptography to secure its transactions, to control the creation of additional units, and to verify the transfer of assets. Cryptocurrencies are a type of digital currency, alternative currencies, and virtual currencies. Cryptocurrencies use decentralized control as opposed to centralized electronic money and central banking systems. A decentralized control of each cryptocurrency works through a blockchain, which is public transaction database functioning as a distributed ledger. I think that really covers a lot of ground there, but it just reflects what you were just saying.
How does it cover ground for you, as far as taking the explanation and the definition of cryptocurrency a little bit further?
Well, it explains more that it's decentralized, not like opposed to central banking and electronic money system is decentralized.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a distributed ledger, which is a distributed ledger is like your bookkeeper has books and they write down everything in their books. Well, picture your bookkeeper with thousands of copies of that book out there and all for everyone to look at. And so nothing's hidden and it can't be changed. You can't change one book and change all the rest of them.
Okay.
They have to all agree with each other.
Okay.
And that's what blockchain is about. It's a distributed ledger system that is immutable. What they call immutable means it cannot be changed.
Also meaning it can't be easily tampered with, and you can't do a lot of theft within
Right.
the system. You can do theft within, like, getting other people's tokens and things like that, but you can't do theft as far as like gaming this, like creating Bitcoin out of thin air or creating tokens.
It has to be verified
Hmm.
over the entire system. So there's a great verification system there. Now, one expert that I did read, I was reading some of his material, he said, yeah, it's possible to break into the blockchain, but you would need such a powerful computer and use what they call brute force, which will mean multiple, just guessing over and over and over and over and over again until you get the right code to get anything out of it.
Gotcha.
And I would say that 99% of the people in the world don't have access to that kind of computing power.
Okay. All right. So let's go to our next one. This is just our last slide of the word of the day, and it's just a little slide about from Don and Alex Tapscott, the authors of Blockchain Revolution. Just a little slide
Yeah.
about blockchain.
Blockchain is an incorruptible digital ledger of economic transactions that can be programmed to record not just financial transactions, but virtually everything of value. And this just shows you how cryptocurrency or the blockchain can be used for more than cryptocurrency.
And that's where you see some of these um, ICOs and some of the coins that we're going to be talking about on the show will come into play. Is that when you think about the Internet of Things and where the Internet's going next, is you see all these blockchain companies and companies that are also adopting blockchain strategies as part of their not fundraising efforts, but as part of their business development efforts. And you'll be able to see, like, that we're doing a coin today that attempts or is attempting to put the practice of dentistry on the blockchain. And
Yeah,
it's interesting. It's cool to think about. You think about, like like I read Reddit a lot, and you read subreddits and all that stuff for these coins and things that people say, and you can make fun of things like that, but these people are out there, and there are scams that we need to be aware of and worry about, but then there are groups that are trying to do the right thing and trying to do their own thing using
yeah.
blockchain technology and raising funds that way.
That's I go back to an old phrase I've heard since I was a child. What will they think of next? And that's the whole blockchain is open, and you're going to see things happening on the blockchain that are just going to boggle your mind at times. And I'm already starting to get boggled by some of this stuff they're coming up with.
Yeah, and if you have crazy ones, we will wear a hat during one of our segments and feature yours. We're going to have some information on that coming up soon, but Charles and I will have a hat campaign where your coin or your effort, your blockchain effort, will be featured as part of this show. So
Yeah,
stay tuned for more information coming about that. And now we're going to go through, we want to provide a service to you guys, and when you're out there in the world and doing your work, and that is to talk with you about investing and to talk with you about um, giving you tools that you need or tools that we use to make decisions and helping you. You still have to be on your own to make your decisions, but we want to help you along the way. So let's go through. People talk about these candlesticks all the time. So we're seeing a bullish candlestick and a bearish candlestick. Now, the Bitcoin market has seen a lot of bearish candlesticks lately,
there's a lot of red
but
out there.
there's been a void of bullish candlesticks. Why don't you explain to folks that might not know this information of what they're looking at when they see these charts of what exactly these mean?
Yeah, this was something I thought about after our last show when we were looking at charts, and I'm going, you know what? I never did explain the smaller parts of the chart. So this is a part of the chart. And generally, on your normal candlestick chart, you'll see each of these appear. They are based on a time frame which you can choose in your charting system. So you can use 1 minute, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, a day, a week, a month, depending on how far back you want to zoom out from the chart.
Hmm.
But really should know what these things mean. And so the left one is green. We call it a candlestick because it has wicks on it. The importance of the wicks is that this is the range that this candlestick or this particular investment traded during this time frame. Let's call this just a 3-minute candle for conversation purposes.
Okay.
When it opened up, or when it went to that 3-minute time frame, it opened at the bottom.
Okay.
When it closed, which it means that when the 3 minutes were up and it left that time frame to go to the next, it closed at the top. Hence the green, it went up.
Okay, gotcha.
The wicks indicate that the range, or where it actually traded for that entire 3-minute time period, was the high and the low. So you can see where all the prices traded at during that 3-minute period. Take the bearish candlestick, which now is red, and you see the difference was that it opened high and closed on the low side. So through these, you can get a direction of which way the stock is trading for that 3 minutes. And you can actually apply these to all different time frames. The longer the time frame, the less volatile or less movement you're going to see.
Mm-hmm.
In a candlestick, it's going to give you like a zoom out picture of what's happening in the long term. Sometimes I use 1 day and 2 day candlestick charts just to get a feel for what's happening over like a year's period of time. So you need to understand these so that when you look at a chart, you can understand what you're seeing. Now, the charts that I use are a little bit different. The candlesticks mean the same thing, but they're more averaged out. So you could have a time frame where a candle went down, but it's still green. And we'll talk about that.
Interesting.
A little bit when we look at the charts. But it's an averaging thing. It averages one candle to the next rather than looking at them as an individual unit.
Okay. And how about Fibonacci?
Let's go down, talk about Mr. Fibonacci. Well, that's his nickname, right? His real name is Leonardo Pisano Bigolo. Excuse me. So he was a mathematician.
Okay.
That was in Italy, and he's famous for a book that he wrote, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, but it's Liber Abaci. And in that book, he went over Fibonacci numbers, or the Fibonacci sequence. And
Gotcha.
I'm not going into the details of how that actually works, how he came up with the sequence, but if we look at the next frame, the next slide,
we got it.
We can see that those spirals, which represent the numbers he came up with, represent things that actually occur in nature. It's a phenomenal thing. I'm fascinated by this sequence. This is the picture in the center represents what they call the golden spiral.
Okay.
And by proportions, it shows you how those numbers can create a spiral. And I found a GIF online, which I lost. I can't find it anymore. But if you start zooming in on this chart, and going down to that middle where the inside curl is, it actually keeps going. It's just like you're going down a giant spiral hallway.
Oh, okay.
And it's an amazing thing, and I'm fascinated by these numbers, and I'm wondering what other uses they have in the world and in the universe. But if we go to the next chart, or the next one, let's see here.
The next one's the Ripple slide.
The Ripple slide. So what we're going to do then is we're going to cover Fibonacci numbers in one of the charts and how we can use those to identify turning points in a stock price.
Okay.
Or cryptocurrency price.
Gotcha. So let's do that. So let's talk about Ripple first, and we're going to come back to the candlesticks and the Fibonacci discussion when we get into the slides for Ripple.
Okay, so Ripple. Yeah. It's a token. This is the thing. This is an anomaly, and I'm very interested in this company. People have a problem. I've read a lot of people who would say, look, this is not really a cryptocurrency the way it normally is set up
Hmm.
because the token is separate from the Ripple blockchain technology. So they basically have Ripple trading in one place and then their block technology in another.
Right.
So when you buy Bitcoin, you're getting a piece of the blockchain, which is, bullet point number two.
Hmm. So if you buy Ripple, you're just buying a token?
Yes,
And can you use the tokens in the Ripple platform? You're saying no.
not at this time.
Can
But
you or should you or why are they trading it? Are they trading it just to earn money?
well, here's what I see. This is my take on the whole operation. They're keeping it separate because their blockchain technology that they're using with banks, and just recently they signed up 61 banks in Japan to use their technology.
Right.
It's more or less a closed system.
Hmm.
It's not a completely open system like your normal blockchain, like Bitcoin and other and Etherium, like other blockchains. And the reason for that is because they're going to be transferring value from banks to banks. They need a way to control it.
Yeah.
So they're also, their blockchain is that the sending bank is going to be able to designate the value or the unit of value, meaning it could be gold, silver, US dollars,
Hmm. Right.
Bitcoin. They will be able to designate and lock that in. So when they transfer it, they're transferring a particular unit of value. I think that's why the XRP or Ripple token does not trade on that because it's basically a closed system.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So what would you say to Ripple token holders? Like people that are actually like holding on to it to until it gains some kind of certain value and then they're going to exchange it for Bitcoin, say.
I'm looking at this, John, is I think that eventually the XRP is going to trade on those blockchains. They're going to use those blockchains, and banks are going to use XRP, the coin, the token, to move money back and forth.
Okay.
So the Ripple CEO, now we always take everything management says with a grain of salt, but it says he claims XRP will be used as a vehicle in a big way. And I guess that backs up to the thing that there's 100 billion XRP coins out there, and not all of them been issued. And I think the reason for that is that they're going to introduce the Ripple token to their blockchain and use that as a means of transferring money between banks.
Interesting. Right, which is why they get critiqued by some in the blockchain community or in the Bitcoin community for being a centralized platform, and they could turn into the extension of banks and just be able to provide the peer-to-peer transaction between institutions.
Right. It's a very specialized use of about blockchain technology. So it is not the open system that we're seeing with a lot of the other blockchain technologies, but it serves a purpose.
Okay. Cool. So let's look at some of their numbers.
Okay. So on the this one is a 1 year chart, and I just wanted to point out this yellow shaded area is the Fibonacci retracement, and it measures percentages of movement. And you can see from the peak that it has dropped significantly.
Oh man. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're back down to mid-December numbers.
Yeah. And if you're looking at that chart, I went back and looked at it after I made it. I actually could have extended that chart down to the bottom of that first leg up, that big leg up, and made it, stretched it out a little bit. But it just gives you an idea here of what the drop has been. It's pretty significant. I would expect this to return to the 50% level, which is that middle line that you can see there.
Mm-hmm.
That's the normal. And for a point of interest, 50% is not a Fibonacci number. It's something that was put in there by traders to get that 50%, the middle point, so to speak.
Gotcha. So the Fibonacci numbers are 70.6, 61, 36, 23?
Those are the percentages, yeah.
Okay.
if you look at the actual sequence, I think it's 1, 1, 2, 3, 7. I don't have them memorized, but they're numbers that when you add the first one to the second one, you get the next number.
Gotcha. So we're thinking that maybe it gets back up to that 50% mark.
That's what my target would be.
Okay. Chance it goes under? Chance it goes lower?
Well, I think it's unlikely that it will go lower than that.
All right.
Yeah. Again, what I'm counting on here is that Ripple's game plan and business model will be successful, which so far it has, and that eventually the value will be recognized. And the second phase of that is that XRP will be used on their closed blockchain, which will increase the value.
Yeah, there was talk that maybe they'd get listed on Coinbase, but you're thinking that maybe the more viable application would be those tokens ended up being used on their blockchain.
Right.
And
that's
so
the
they
first
would.
one.
Do
I
they?
think
Here's the thing: does the CEO of Ripple want all of these crazies that have bought Ripple in hopes of cashing out doing any work on their blockchain if they have relationships with banks and things like that?
Well, that's the thing, is that it trades on a separate chain. It trades on so their closed system would not be a trading system.
Oh, okay. Would people be able to take their tokens that they have and get some sort of like any sort of like play or push with any transactions, or no?
That one I didn't explore.
Okay.
White papers are sometimes very grueling to get through, and we got some. Just like the other one, there's 100. They think they have like 100 billion coins that are possible, but they haven't issued all the coins.
Right.
So my second guess is that they might be able to control prices with that. Right.
Yep. Yep.
I think that they could, in order to use XRP on their closed blockchain, stability of price would be, I think, important.
Okay, I got you. So with that, these slides are like skipping ahead. I think my wrist is giving me problems over here with this stuff. We have the 7 months. So the 7 month XRP looks a little bit different. Tell us what you have highlighted here.
Well, what I did was I wanted to zoom in a little bit and get a closer look. And this one I did set the Fibonacci retracement right to the bottom level at the start of the first leg up there, that big run that they had. Here, I just wanted to point out that on the on-balance volume, since that leg up, it started to trail off a little bit. And you can see it dropping down. That's the yellow line just below the chart.
Yep.
And I added another indicator on here, which they call MACD, which is what they call, it's a moving average convergence divergence is what it stands for. I think that this shows that, just like many of the other coins, which I did check just before we came online, is that they're all down. The ones I checked, they're all, for the most part, volume is going out, money is going out of them at the moment, except for Syndicator and Guppy, which show that they have a steady inflow of money into them. But so I think what we're seeing here is just a general market downturn. People are standing back and waiting to see what happens.
Okay. So, cool. Well, thanks for going through that. I think other than wrapping my head around concepts of investing and mathematics that usually explode my brain, I'm actually able to digest some of that the way that you phrase it, so I appreciate it.
Yeah, one thing we got to understand is this really big question that everybody asks a lot is what makes stocks or investments go up and what makes them go down. Well, what makes them go up is more buyers than sellers, and what makes them go down is more sellers than buyers. The big question is what makes them do that.
Yeah, and I think if anyone can answer that question, they wouldn't be having a show about it. They would just be sitting on the back end making trades
Yes,
and deals.
right. And cutting deals and being millionaires,
That's
right?
right.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about the next one. This one seems interesting. Dentacoin.
Dentacoin.
That's
Not a
one where you
coin.
hear it and you're like, what?
It's not a coin that you chew. Uh,
Could be.
I just wanted to put the mission statement up here because really, it sort of encapsulates what they're trying to do.
Okay.
And they
Just
want, and I like the mission statement because it doesn't say we're here to make a lot of money. It says we're here to improve the quality of dental care worldwide. I mean, they want to improve everyone's dental care, reduce treatment costs. Who could be against that?
right.
And create a dental community. So they say that the token will help assist Dentacoin Foundation with the above mentioned missions by giving power to the people. I think there's a song like that out there somewhere. Dentacoin focuses on developing a number of tools, each one targeting a different sector of dental industry. Individuals who use and implement these tools will receive Dentacoin tokens as a reward, which they can later use to pay for their dental treatment or to purchase dental products.
That is so
Wow.
interesting.
Can you believe that? You get involved, you get Dentacoins, and you can use it to get your teeth fixed.
That's cool, right? I mean, it has a real world application, but I hear it and I think, really? But then, there's Potcoin and all those other ones too, so
Well,
you just hear it and you're like, okay, well, that actually sounds like a real world case. Dun dun dun. People need that, and it also could be educational because a lot of people just hate the dentist because they had a bad experience when they were a kid, and so they neglect to go.
yeah,
So
it's
maybe if
it's
you
not
have
easy.
an incentivized system, and it's
Here, I
blockchain
didn't put
based, maybe you could
I
take it.
don't think I put these in the charts. Let me check here real quick in the slides. Okay, no, I just want to go over a couple of the things that they talked about in their white paper. One was that when you survey, if you have a dentist and you do a survey on a dentist or a review, you get a Dentacoin for that. If you go to a dentist and he puts you on um, I don't know what to call it, a regimen, or it tells you these are the things you need to do to make your teeth better, including regular checkups, and you do that, you get Dentacoin. If the dentist does his job right, he gets Dentacoin.
Huh.
So there is work or things you need to. It's a you need to do things to get Dentacoin. You just can't go out there and buy Dentacoin. I mean, you can. It's on the market, but there's an incentive to actually get your teeth fixed. Now,
Right. So
I know
they're incentivizing preventative care, like they've tried to in healthcare. Like they give you incentives for going to the doctor and making sure you're healthy and da 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 da.
exactly, and so if again, we always have to take all this with a grain of salt because we've seen a lot of uh, operations bite the dust at the end of last year and the beginning of this year so far. But if they can pull this off, and I do know by reading the white paper that they have bought an actual dental practice to facilitate some of this operation.
Interesting. Yeah, it says, according to the Harvard Business Review, to protect the blockchain vision from political pressure and regulatory interference, blockchain networks rely on a decentralized infrastructure that can't be controlled by any one person or group. The integration of blockchain and dentistry is an extraordinary concept, one that requires the creation of a community in which transparency and shared responsibility can take place.
Yeah, and one of the things that I thought was thoughtful um, about Dentacoin was that they have contracts, right? Smart contracts.
Mm-hmm.
They have this thing they call a super smart contract, which if your dentist that you're working with goes under or disappears, the contract has an extended life. It doesn't go away because one of the parties of the contract is left. So it has what do you want to call it, preservation feature, so that you don't lose if someone else doesn't fulfill their part of the contract.
Gotcha. All right, and we're looking at the 8 trillion Dentacoin slide next.
Yes, that one really set me back in my chair a little bit because 8 trillion coins is nothing to be sneered at. They call it ERC20 tokens. They did have the next slide when we get to it, it's going to sort of explain that a little bit. But it is configured to be global, and they're going to use it in the entire world. And so 8 trillion probably is not a large number when you consider the amount of people that could use this.
And so, and this tells me then it is built on the Ethereum blockchain, or is it on their own?
I believe that's correct. Yep. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I think that is built on Ethereum blockchain.
Okay. Now, you call Ethereum something different sometimes, don't you? You call it
Well, there's an Ether. They call it Ether or Etherium.
It's called Etherium, not Ethereum?
Yeah, they say the token is an Ether, and the blockchain is Ethereum.
They don't call it Ether?
Hey, sure, if you want to call it Ether, take a dose, man.
Y'all got any more of them Ether tokens?
Yeah, man, I need another.
All right. Okay, so then now we're in the phases of the platform.
Yeah, I just wanted to give an overview of what their plan is. And so Blockview-based trusted review platform, this is where they do the reviews and you get Dentacoin for it.
Do you know what year these are?
No, I did not. I don't think that I saw years or accomplishing. This is just
okay.
Again, if you
so
really
they're setting goals. They're just not setting goals that have any time frame.
Well, we can go back and look at the white paper, I suppose. I just wanted to cover the basic phases.
Okay. No, I got you.
DentaCare mobile app and DentaVox opinion platform. Phase 3, Denta assurance concept, where this is where we get our insurance from. And then the phase 4 is the healthcare database.
That's cool. I look forward to buying my first toothbrush using my earned Dentacoins from getting my cleanings.
Yes. And again, if you know the phases and they don't accomplish one of their phases, you know something's up.
Right.
Next slide.
Dennis just wanted to come in and do a pump and dump.
Yeah. But, dentistry is expensive.
Yeah.
I know. And it's like, so this is
if it can be used to control costs, I'm all over it. If they can, and then if they can apply that to healthcare, I'm all over that too.
I mean, it's like your back and your teeth are some of these things that tend to go wrong and you need to get them fixed.
Yep. All right, yeah, so they are looking at the distribution.
Yeah, we're looking at distribution here. This made me feel a little bit better.
This is how they're going to get rid of their trillion coins or distribute their trillion coins?
Yeah, they're not just going to dump 8 trillion coins onto the market. But they have a plan for distributing the coins. And this chart gives them that the plan, which, they're not really putting a lot out there in the later years. Pretty much it's all front-end loaded.
Yeah, I see that. It's front-end loaded, but it's front-end loaded. It's actually like mid-loaded. Like it starts and then it increases. 2024 is the highest. And then, by 2030, it starts to dwindle out.
Right. I think their plan is that they'll need those coins during that time period, probably because that'll be their highest membership rates.
That's interesting. So that's why I am really fascinated, and I just like doing these kinds of shows, is how forward-thinking people are, right? Everyone gets caught up in the news of the day, the soup of the day, the junk of the day, and you have companies that are writing white papers, creating communities, talking with people, and using the internet, using blockchain technology and cryptocurrency to think about 20, 40, 60-year plans out. That's great.
That is something that's an excellent way to look at things, because you got to have a long-term plan. If you don't, then you're just fumbling around.
Right. If you don't, it's what they said. If you don't know where you're going, any road will get you there.
Right.
That's I think that's Alice in Wonderland type thing. It's like, if you don't if you're not having a purpose, right? You don't have any goals. You can do it. I mean, go do whatever. You quit your job and go work somewhere else. Da 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 da. If you have a plan and a goal, then you have to follow a plan and take certain paths in order to get to where you want.
Yes. Example I always like to bring up is how people laughed at the first Honda automobile that came to this country. This little box with the stick shift that came out of the dashboard.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody looked at it and laughed. Well,
Yeah,
they're
no
not.
one's gonna buy that.
Yeah, they're not laughing now because when the Japanese came here, they had a very long-term plan to make inroads into our markets,
Mm-hmm.
and they were willing to
Yeah,
tough it out.
yeah. We learned that very early on. Komatsu's strategy. It was 2 words: encircle caterpillar,
Yeah,
and they did.
they did.
They
So
did. They did. So that it's just yeah. So it's crazy. But anyway, I don't want to. We don't
one
need
thing
to.
I want to point out at the bottom here is that
Yeah.
they actually listed the contracts. You can view the contracts um, and verify them on that link at the bottom.
For GitHub, and a lot of your blockchain companies are in openness and transparency, and the whole point, kind of like when we were going back to earlier, it's an immutable ledger. So they put stuff on GitHub, public access link, anyone can see it. Da 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 da. So if they're doing that, odds are that they're trying to be as transparent as possible.
Yeah, and this is a step in the right direction for them to do that because it shows me they're serious. And unless, and of course, anybody can be a scam artist, but why would you, if you're going to scam people, why would you do that? I mean, you're just putting it out there.
Right. Right.
If it doesn't happen, somebody's going to start asking questions.
Exactly. And they do. The internet never forgets either, man.
That's right. It's
So
out there forever.
when we do our G1NBC token, we're going to have all the crazies coming after us if we mess up.
That's right. Yeah, they'll be after us. So we have everything above board and transparent.
So we have our investing.com candlesticks. You get to see our candlesticks. We'll go back to that. And you want to talk to this slide?
Yeah, the Dentacoin 6-month slide. I just wanted everyone to see what was going on with the price.
What's this blue P over here?
That's there's some kind of economic thing that happened there, and if you mouse over that, it tells you what it is.
You have to be on the site.
Yeah,
Right.
you have to be on the site to do that. But one thing I did notice here is that Dentacoin, the on-balance volume, that yellow line at the bottom, it's dropped off significantly,
Yeah.
and there is an outflow happening in that coin right now.
And what does that mean when you say outflow? You mean that means people are leaving the
Yeah,
community?
money's going out and not coming in.
Right.
So, but a lot of coins are showing that right now. And remember, they have a long-term plan, so I'm not sure that's bothering them that much.
Okay.
But if you're in at the top, I guess, at the top of that high
if you
wick,
came in over here,
you're probably wondering why you did that.
unless they were sellers here in that first big red wick.
Yes, if you got out before the crash, that's where a plan and exit strategy comes in. And I guess that is one thing that a lot of people that I've known over the years is they got a great coming in plan, but they don't have a plan for getting out.
Yeah.
And
I constantly go over that, and then this is the first, you can see how extreme the high was. So obviously I was in before November, so I consider myself a little bit lucky so far. And then you had that in like December, you're like, I'm awesome. I am a genius. This is the best decision that I've ever made. And then you look at February and you're like, oh, okay, I see what everyone's talking about. And then, then March comes and you're like, oh boy, what's going to happen? And you can see that's why what you said earlier is like, it's all outflow right now. There's not a whole lot of new velocity or new volume of stuff. People are kind of just waiting to see what happens. I think, a lot of things happen. The BitConnect stuff and all the other kind of investing schemes and the binary trading and all that stuff has started. People are paying attention, everything goes up. And then SEC and governments and things like that do their thing, and people kind of scramble, and so we just wait and see how things go. But like you said, it's more this, and most people know this, more of a long-term game than it is a short-term.
Right. And I would wonder how many people actually read the white paper on Dentacoin that invested in it.
I would imagine. I mean, I don't know many people that can get through white papers.
It's hard,
Yeah,
but
I mean, they're challenging. You have to do your homework and read those, and you also have to compare them to others, right? So read the Bitcoin white paper and use that as your benchmark, and then read other people's white papers and see how they're talking about algorithms, how they're talking about how they're setting up their blockchain. Are they like an ERC20 token, which is based on the Ethereum network? All that kind of stuff. I believe all ERC20s are built on the Ethereum blockchain, but I might be wrong on that, and someone will tell me in the comments. But
yeah, they need to tell us when we're wrong, or if they have another opinion. We want input into
yeah,
this.
and we are looking for a programmer, an API developer, or a blockchain guru. If you want to come and make a trio for our show, we'll let you.
Yeah, anybody can come in and give us value added where we're looking for.
Yep. And you can call in as well. That number's in the description. You guys can chime in. And I think we will get to the point where we'll have callers in another room and just kind of bringing them in to ask questions. So I look forward to doing that. All right. So that's
and
it
one
for...
more thing I want to add to this one, John, is that sometimes you have to have a little ice water in your veins because things do go down. And you just need to be able to look at it and make a logical decision. I know the emotion always comes in. I have people tell me in the past, yeah, I've done this all on paper. Now I'm ready to get in. Well, on paper, it's not real life.
Yeah, on paper, it's not your fiat dollars.
When your fiat dollars are at risk, there's some nail biting that goes on sometimes.
Oh yeah. And panic and FUD and...
Yes.
We need to get people more back into the FOMO phase where they're like, oh, I gotta get these Bitcoins before they're all gone.
My opinion is by the end of this year, if you hadn't bought Bitcoin or one of your favorites, you'll probably be kicking yourself.
Really?
Yeah.
You think that this year is when you were going to see them go up and be like priced out? People will be like the nominal investors will be priced out.
Yeah, and another thing that we need to look at too is in the shadows, the institutional investors are gathering. They're grouping together and getting ready to make their move. When they come in, they're going to drive prices.
Yep.
And you're talking.
Yep. And they're going to act like they own the place.
Yes, yeah, that's right.
Like they always do.
People are going to be screaming market manipulation and all kinds of stuff. And I say if you got all your ducks in a row and you know your trading strategies, you'll be able to ride the coattails of the big boys.
Cool. I like it. All right, so we're going to go, and we're getting out of here pretty soon. Let's review our coins from last week. We have Syndicator. That one's up there now.
Syndicator. All right, the blue arrow indicates our last show.
Okay.
And what's happened to Syndicator. But if you look right at the tail end there, you see an upturn. We don't know if that's going to last, but look at that yellow line. There's still money being pumped into Syndicator.
All right, so Syndicator still because that line hasn't gone down, even though the candlesticks appear mostly red for the last however long that is. But okay,
yeah,
trending.
I think we're looking at probably a 1-year chart there. Next one's Guppy.
We're looking at Guppy.
And then this is a little shorter term view, but I wanted just to give a zoom in so people can see the difference. There's the blue arrow where we had our last show.
Yeah, so right now there's a negative correlation between being on our show and the overall price.
Our show is so powerful, we drive prices.
If you get on this show, your sales of your coin are guaranteed to plummet.
Yeah, just look over your shoulder when you're on your way out. But again, this guppy also is trailing off a little bit on unbalanced volume, but it's still pretty high.
Okay.
So my expectation of both syndicator and guppy is that you're going to see an upturn in these two soon.
Cool, cool. I like it. Well, hopefully the whole market will be taking an upturn pretty soon.
Yeah, I think it's just taking a rest, and people are some of them are licking their wounds, and others are just waiting for that moment where they're waiting for a reversal in the market. A lot of people do that. They wait for the reversal and then they jump on when it's starting to go up again.
It's interesting. It goes counterintuitive to the buy low, sell high strategy, but I think sometimes it's you want to predict low. And
It does happen that way because when the emotions get involved, you tend to do the wrong thing, the opposite.
yeah, like Bitcoin is up $1,000 just in the last day,
Yeah, it's moving, and
but
I think
overall it's been down. The last 3 months
I
has
think
been
if
grim.
Bitcoin starts to make a serious move upwards, that the rest of the market will follow suit.
Yeah, and usually does. And Bitcoin is usually, I think it's at 44% of the overall volume in the
Yes.
market. So until that number changes, you'll see that where it's all the alts and everything is really dependent on Bitcoin, and as it goes, so goes the other
Well,
ones.
it's like following the Dow Jones Industrial Average. People used to call me when I was in the stock market business, and what's the Dow Jones doing? Well, sir, the Dow Jones is only 30 stocks. There's 5,000 stocks out there. Why are you worried about that?
Good point. Good point. Yeah. Well, Chaz, this is another successful morning coins. Not to toot our own horn, but this is a pretty good show. Thanks for joining me again.
Pleasure doing this. I really enjoy it, and we'll see if we can get some of our real estate on this thing opened up to some advertising. And if someone out there has an idea and they want us to advertise their product or their service, let us know. We'll find a place.
Yep, and we will get for our next episode next Monday. I had surgery last week, so I was kind of out of commission. Getting back into it now. So for episode 3, we're gonna revisit becoming a slide sponsor, becoming a promotional hat sponsor. If you have an event coming up or a conference or just a coin that you want us to talk about on the show, we'll have information on how to contact us for all of that. You can contact both of us at G1NBC. Charles is the director for Genesee County. I'm the director for Cuyahoga County. So you can find us on G1NBC and get in touch with us through that way. We tried DLive today. We tried Facebook Live. We're gonna look at some other ways to broadcast live to help build our audience. You'll be able to see us on YouTube for my site, and then Charles, you'll get the link to put on your site, and
Yes.
we'll have all the information for our Coinbase accounts if you want to start your own Coinbase account, and we'll
Perhaps, John,
choose one of us.
yeah,
Yeah, go
next time we can talk about exchanges. That would be a good subject to cover. Where do you buy your coins at?
Okay.
So I'll come up with some ideas on that one.
All right. Sounds good, Chaz. Well, thanks for being here, man. And this is Morning Coins with John and Chaz, and we will see you later.
Bye.